Welcome back. Today, this conversation promises to be enlightening, fun, but most of all, jam packed with some actionables. And I want you to tune in. This is a conversation that if you're a woman, it is incredibly important for us to come together and not only support an incredible young lady who is doing some phenomenal work, but also to bring awareness to a topic that, excuse me, all of us have to, in one moment or another, be able to navigate through. So today I have with me Esena Banson, who is originally from Ghana and is now residing in London. She is currently competing in the Miss Africa America pageant. Her love for fashion and beauty is evident in all she does. But one of the things that she is sharing with the world and part of her platform is talking about period poverty. And in case you don't know what period poverty, it refers to the inability to afford and access menstrual products, sanitation and hygiene facilities, and education and awareness to manage menstrual health. So, simply put, period poverty costs women and girls too much, and it doesn't have to be like this. So, let's dive into this conversation. Welcome, SNO. Excited to have you
Hi,
here.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. You are in one of my favorite cities in the world, London. I have to
Okay.
take my husband to London. I have not been there for a while, and he's never been. So we are due for a visit.
Yes, and then it will be lovely to host you when you're in London.
Well, I would love it. We'll have to have some tea, walk around. I don't know. It's been a while. So I think that this is the year we return to London. Now, you are competing for a competition that I think a lot of people may not heard about it, but I have come across it. We've had a guest, a friend of the show here, Miss Kyra Eubanks. Who competed in Miss America. She is the pageant winner from Florida. But again, a lot of people may not be really familiar with the pageant world. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get started in this? And how long have you been in London?
I've been living in London. Originally I was born in London, and then I
Mhm.
moved to Ghana when I was like or two, and I stayed there till year six. So I came back here when I was like 11 or 12. I loved living in Ghana. It's very
Mm.
different from living in London, but yes, I've had the both worlds. So the best of both worlds. So yeah, in terms of the pageant,
Mhm.
originally I started this as fun. I said, okay, pageant. All I thought about pageant was beauty.
Mhm.
Looking into my fashion, and like enjoying it, and just making like just showcasing beauty and Ghana on traditions and stuff.
Mhm.
But then my views have actually really changed since I started this pageant. That it's not just about just looking beautiful or just showcasing your fashion, but it's about
Mhm.
doing something with purpose. And I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity because it's helped me to actually have a purpose and have a mission that I know that I'm making an impact. I know that I'm standing for a good cause. I know that I'm actually meeting people and then they're like, wow, like this is something that people are not talking about. Let's talk about it. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions when it comes to pageants. I know that from having individuals, and by the way, my mom was a pageant contestant. She was
Ooh.
Miss El Salvador and she won Miss Central America at one point.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
so, but this is, before pageants were really televised and they are what they are today. But
Yeah.
her experience was something that she always shared, that it was an experience of being able to get along with others. And it's not about, the catty competition that sometimes we see, but this is a prestigious platform and it's uniting contestants from, I believe it's 54 nations. And you're really celebrating diversity, culture, empowerment. And again, you're not just crowning a queen, but you're really bringing together and showcasing someone's grace, someone's
Yeah.
leadership, and that's incredibly important in this world. Is that we need to highlight these individuals that are doing some phenomenal work. Now, What are you hoping that you will gain from participating in the pageant?
So what I'm hoping to gain is just, as I said before, it's just like doing something with a purpose, like having a meaningful life. So just knowing that after the pageant, it just doesn't stop here.
Mhm,
So being able to make an impact, being able to work with charities,
mhm.
meeting people, going on TV, going
Yeah.
on radios, like going on shows like this, just spreading awareness of what period poverty is. I would love to win, obviously, because when you take part in a show, you would want to
Right.
win. But my main focus is just going on that stage and just knowing that people will actually know more about period poverty. And even just starting just a competition, I've met
Mhm,
so many people that I had no idea. And now they know, now they're following me and then just going along with my journey and just educating people. Because
mhm.
if one person doesn't say it, nobody would ever know. So I'm just
Yeah.
very, yeah, grateful for this opportunity.
Well, I think that again, bringing light to something that a lot of people don't realize, and again, millions of women and girls worldwide cannot afford menstrual products or access water and sanitation facilities to manage your menstrual hygiene. And this is something that becomes really difficult, and it really knocks your confidence. And I think that we can all, as women, identify with this is a natural part of life, having a period, and hopefully we can talk more about this and not be a period. Because I remember when I got my period, I was 11, but it was really hush hush, and we didn't talk about this, and you had to kind of hide, like, oh no, I
Yeah.
have my period, and there's so much that we need to just bring awareness so that number one, it's healthy to be able to discuss it because if something is wrong, it's easy for us to not know if we're not talking about it and we don't know what normal is. And the second part is that, this is a part of life. This is a part of being a woman. And it doesn't have to be something that, it's something that's gonna chip away at girls'
Yeah.
confidence and at women's, um, well-being as well. What has been your experience with period poverty? How did you become aware? Did you have a personal view of it? Tell me more about that.
So my personal experience with period poverty, I would say that when I went to uni, it
Mhm,
really hit me because obviously I was living with my mum and my
mhm,
sister, and
right.
because we were the girls, my mum used to actually buy the products. So
Mhm,
I didn't think about it when it was my period. I wasn't thinking, "Ooh, do I need
yeah,
to buy pads? Do I need to get tampons?" It was nothing like that because it would just
mhm,
be provided in the bathroom. I'll just use it and
mhm,
go. When I got to university, I said, whoa, this is another expenses that I have to add to myself. And
mhm,
sometimes it's not even just about being able to afford it.
yeah,
It was just about just forgetting.
mhm,
Because I will actually do my calendar, check this next week. I'll be like, oh yeah, I got time. But sometimes it's a human body. It can
mhm,
come two days before, it can come 3 days
yeah,
before, and I'm not prepared. And that really hit me when I got to university that I had to plan ahead. I had to buy them in bulk,
mhm.
save it, and then also keep on track with my calendar, which a lot of people don't do. And even to this day, even though I'm 26 now, sometimes my body shocks me and come a week before, and I'm not prepared, and I will have to literally do the tissue trick, go to the store and go and buy one, which is actually
Yeah.
very crazy. But apart from that, in terms of the actual like not being able to afford it,
Mhm,
I haven't had a personal experience with that. And also just even just the knowledge about periods just in general.
mhm,
Growing up, my church, I was in a church called Assemblies of God. So they had a group called Missionettes, which was girls ranging from 6 to 16 or even 6 to 18, depending on the church.
mhm,
So we were taught about how to clean yourself, how to manage your period, what is period, how to be as a woman, how to carry yourself, smelling, bathing, showering,
mhm.
all of it. The list goes on.
Yeah.
So when I had my period, I wasn't in shock because I was kind of prepared and I had the knowledge behind it, which is one of the things why I even chose to do this period poverty thing. Because, for example, me, I've had that
Mhm,
experience, I've had that knowledge, I've had that education about periods, but loads of girls don't have those experiences. They haven't had that group that will gather them and say, yeah, let me
Yeah.
teach you about periods. This is how you need to act. It's normal. The taboos. You can talk to your parents about it. You can talk to your society about it. It's fine. You can talk to your friends about
Mhm.
it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's natural. So that's what part of my thing with my whole campaign is, just to educate people, just to help people to have that space that they can just talk about these topics. Yeah.
Mhm. I think that this is a really important point, specifically because when we think of the word poverty, we're always thinking economics. And yes, there is a level of having poverty and
Yeah.
not being able to afford the products, which, by the way, are not cheap. And
Yeah.
when I started teaching and I lived out on my own, yeah, very similarly to you, I had to think like, oh my gosh, okay, and really, I remember my paycheck, one of my paychecks covered my entire rent, and I had $40 left until the next paycheck. And I had
Yes.
to make that last, and I had to pay for my transportation to work. God forbid, if I wanted to go out, I didn't really have the money, or if I wanted to, if my period came early and I was not prepared, right? That was an extra expense that people don't realize. But I want to talk about the poverty context of this conversation because it's not just monetarily affording the products, but poverty is also the lack of knowledge, the
Yeah.
lack of information and lack of awareness and being unprepared for what your period is. And in many countries, women again are stigmatized because of something that is very normal in part of the course. I was reading that in Bangladesh and Egypt, there's 32% and 30 per only 32% and 66% of girls, respectively,
Yeah.
have aware of menstruation before they get their period. And many of them, as we know, if you don't know what your period is, if you don't know what is happening to your body, you can become shock, afraid, and
Yeah.
begin this stigma of, just harming yourself because you don't even know what is going on with your
Yeah.
body. And again, menstruation for girls seems in many parts of this world makes you untouchable, makes you dirty,
Mm,
and we need to create the space where we're educating girls and we're helping them with their confidence and
yeah.
helping them to not feel like they're outcast and that they're in another realm of society. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
What you said is exactly what it is. So in terms of poverty, it's just not the money aspect of it. It's also about just people just having knowledge, just
Mhm,
knowing about periods and stuff, and just having that education behind it. And shockingly, you will actually think that this is just even just other
mhm.
third world countries. This is actually happening in the US and the UK, which is actually
Absolutely.
very, because even with some schools, they're not having these sex education classes anymore.
Mhm.
They're not having these PSHEE classes anymore. So girls just don't know until it
Yeah.
actually happens, and then they just don't know where to go from there. Yesterday, I had a workshop with 20 girls, and it was about period education. And I just put up their hand and was like, "Oh, put up your hand if you have this type of conversation at home with your mom and your dad or your carer."
Mhm. Yeah.
The room was silent. People are not having these conversations. Even the education system is not doing it. Families are
Mhm.
not doing it. Friends are not doing it. So where
Yeah.
are these girls meant to get these information from? A girl that's 10 years old, who might start her period at 11, like because I started at 11, you started at 11. How are
Mhm.
they meant to find this information if they're not studying this in primary school,
Right.
or if they're not having this conversation with their mom at home? How would they
Mhm.
know about it? They just don't have awareness on it. So
Yeah.
I understand that even though these happen in the third world countries and they shut off all of these type of conversations and the taboo and all of this, and people just shy away from it, it happens in the Western world too.
Yeah,
Nobody's
absolutely.
talking about it.
Yeah, and
So
we don't talk about it. And I want to just, I know that sometimes people kind of roll their eyes because stats, it's easy to quote stats,
yeah,
but I want you to think about this. There are in the US 16 16.9 million people who are in menstruative poverty here in the US. That's 16.9 million. And among these women, two-thirds said that they struggle with affording them in the last year. That's 14% of college girls. And
Yes.
if we want to unpack that a little more, and by the way, I had terrible periods. I will tell you, there
Yes.
were terrible periods. I had incredible pain when my monthly, menses would come, and I would sometimes stay out of school. But the one thing that really is that for the number is 1 out of 10 girls
Yes.
also miss school because of their cycle and because of the lack of access to products and health services. And this is
Yes.
something that, again, it affects 1 in every 4 students, and mostly it affects women of color, and mostly
Yes.
affects individuals who not only are they dealing with that part of the stigma, but in some communities, women are seen, especially during their period, unclean. And
Yes.
that creates another layer of stigma for individuals going through this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
Um, Go ahead.
yeah, just even add on onto even that, yeah. Because even with someone like me, I have a heavy, very, very heavy period.
Mhm,
So if a normal person, a normal person can go
mhm.
through just let's say one packet of period packs during
Yeah.
the month, I would
Mhm.
need 2 or 3 because I need to constantly change because I have a very heavy flow.
Yeah.
It adds up because even though someone might be like, oh, it's just £2, it's just £3, but I'm getting 3 of it
Yeah.
a month, and your periods can come every 28 days. So that means in the space of the 1 year, I've
Mhm.
gone through so many packets of period pads, and that's just an additional. And
Yeah.
some people just want this heavy. I'm not the only person that experienced heavy periods, so maybe this is a common thing
Mhm.
that is going on around as well. That's what I just wanted to add on when you were talking about your experience. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the other piece of it, right? Like, it's not just accessing the products that you need as you're menstruating, but it's also accessing Midol or any type of medication that can help you with that. And then when you're not
Yes.
participating in school, you're also not participating in clubs, activities. You may not be able to go to work again because
Yeah.
you don't have. And if you are a young girl or young woman who is, again, struggling financially, and you have a job and yet you don't have access to the products,
Yes.
sometimes toilet paper doesn't cut it. So it is very important to be able to bring awareness. Now, how are you hoping that the work that you're doing helps individuals get involved? And what can people do? Because I think sometimes, oh, well, I'm here and that's happening to somebody else that I don't know, right? What is it that people can do? How can they get involved? And what are you hoping to do through bringing awareness to this?
Yeah, so there's actually different avenues that could be helped to spread awareness. Firstly, is the money. So in
Mhm,
terms of just donating to charities, maybe that £1, £2, because £2 in Ghana is 19 Ghana cedis. That can get somebody 3 packs or 4 packs of period products. So just donating money to charities, also just involving with following accounts on Instagram,
mhm,
resharing these posts, just having those conversations, and also like just going to workshops, talking about it, just spreading awareness. So in
mhm,
terms of even just with me with the competition, as I said, the competition just doesn't end there. I've been having live
mhm.
conversations on Instagram every Wednesdays, just
Yeah.
with different guests, talking about different type of things, just around period, just educating people, letting people join. I remember the last 2 weeks, I had my live chats, a lot of male were joining, and they were like, "Oh no,
Mhm.
it's time for us to dip out. This is girls' conversation." I was like, "No, guys, let's all stay. This is just not conversation for girls."
Yeah.
I think that's where one of the issue is just leaving it just based
Mhm,
on girls. Girls, this is your issue to solve. No, men should be talking about this. Men should be aware about this before they get married, before they have children,
yeah.
before and all of this. They should just be aware about this. Just going around in society and just having that awareness and just being educated about it really, really helps because it helps
Mhm,
to spread awareness. It just helps to have educated people. When people are educated about the topic, it helps also spread an awareness. So that's
Right.
one other ways I'm also doing this. And I'm also just hosting classes, trying to connect with other organizations, trying to get sponsorships, and trying to just work together so that we can just spread these awareness. Of course, it's going to be hard for one person to do it alone. That's what I'm trying to get our people
Hmm.
involved. So even just having today with you here, it's an amazing opportunity because thousands of people are going to be watching this, and thousands of people are going to be educated and be like, oh, period poverty, I didn't know about this, and then they'll
Hmm.
get to know. So that is some of the ways that I'm going about this and trying to spread awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so happy that this is something that you're bringing awareness to. And that we're going to be airing this episode before your competition. But one of the
Yes.
things that I wanted to kind of bring into the discussion, and because I think that this is really important, I saw something in, of course, we're all on TikTok, we're all in this social media world, and currently in the U.S. we are undergoing an election. We are, discussing a lot of different things of national security, of health. But one of the things that has come up is that the current candidate for vice president, Tim
Yes.
Walz, is being called Tampon Tim. And
Oh,
it is meant to be a derogatory nickname because
yes.
he signed into legislation as the governor of Minnesota. He signed into legislation a law that requires all school districts to
Yes.
provide supplies to students who are menstruating. And
Yes.
the reality is that people think that this is a handout. People think that this is terrible, that when you are talking about periods, it automatically opens the floodgates for promiscuity and sexual activity, but yet it doesn't. And
Yes.
that's really been proven by so many different things. But the people and the pundits that, enjoy just having a large voice and enjoy just being able to, oh, this is terrible that he did that, have never really looked into the outcomes, have never really even talked or know anyone who is in that situation. Because number one,
Yes.
we don't talk about it. Even if they knew people, they're probably not talking about it. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that more states or more schools should provide not only supplies, but also provide the education to help to reduce this period poverty?
Yes. I'm very shocked that that's his nickname because that's actually very yeah, it's just not cool. In
It's
terms
not
of
cool at all.
at all, because what he's doing is actually an amazing actually concept.
Mhm,
So even with that, in the UK since 2019 or 2020, they've
mhm,
actually introduced having the NHS provide period products for people. So you can actually go to your local GP or your local doctors and ask them, oh, I'm struggling, and there was a keyword for it that you can speak to the
mhm.
receptionist if you don't want people to know about it.
Yep.
And then GP had a different one so that you can be like, oh, and then they'll be okay, and then they'll go and bring it out to you so that if you're just embarrassed about it, other people around would not know where it is so that they can help you
Mm,
to provide those products. Um,
yeah.
I feel like it's very amazing, but shockingly, I had another social event, and then I went to speak as a guest about period poverty and stuff like that. And then I did actually ask the ladies like, who's ever gone to the GP or
Mhm,
who knows about this thing that the GP is doing? Put up your hand, and no one actually knows about it. So I think that's what the issue is
yeah.
because it's not advertised. If the products are there and if this is
Mhm,
what is going on,
yep.
why don't people know about this? Why is there not posters? Why is this not adverts on TV?
Yep.
Why are people not talking about it? Because if this is going to be a thing that we are giving, we're helping these ladies, we're helping women,
Mhm,
you can come to us, we're trying to help you. It should be out in the open, and people should
yeah.
be able to actually receive these services. In terms of schools and businesses, I've seen a lot of businesses are starting to introduce it with the ladies' toilets you can go in, or even shopping centres that you can go in and you can put in 50p, 20p, and also get these products. It will be, even though 50p and 20p is very low and obviously it's very affordable,
Mhm,
what happens if I'm not carrying no coins around me? What happens if they have 20p on me or 50p on me? It needs to
mhm,
be something that the government needs to look into and be provided as a free service for people because how inconvenient it is that you're outside, you're leaking, you need to go to the closest toilet, and you
Yeah.
still need a pound, or you still need 50p to do that. What happens if
Yeah.
you don't have that 50p on you? What happens if you don't have the £1 on you? £1 is basically like
Mhm.
$120 or whatever. What happens
Yep.
if you don't have those coins on you to actually get these products? So I feel like the government needs to look into it and actually try to see how this should not even be monetized, because it's meant to be an emergency.
Mhm.
It needs to be free. So with the education system as well, they need to start introducing these groups, start inviting guest speakers to come in to talk about
Mhm.
these things to the girls, even boys. Like, it needs to be a discussion, and they need to stop having this taboo on it about how this is should not be learning about this at school. Shouldn't know about this. It's a natural thing. They're going
Yeah.
to get it. So if you're
Mhm.
not talking about it, you should. And how is this a taboo? So
Yeah.
that's a very, very good question. And I feel like it needs to be worked on, and the conversation needs to happen.
The conversation needs to happen, and, I live in one of the few states. There's a few states like Minnesota that actually provide funding so that and requires schools to have accessibility to period products, because there is 86% of women who menstruate have started their periods unexpectedly in public.
Yes.
I know that the majority of us has had this happen, and
Yeah.
really, when you are providing these products, 2.4%, there's an increase of attendance when you're
Yes.
participating and when you are, requiring. And this only happened in New York City, by the way, which I lived in New York City. Some of the other states that afford
Yeah.
this to their students are California, Colorado, Connecticut, where I live, Hawaii, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, Ohio, and Oregon. Now,
Yeah.
again, there's other states that require the period products to be available, but they're not paying for them. And that's Delaware, DC, Illinois, New Hampshire, New York, Nevada, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, and
Yeah.
Washington. And the states that are offering funding is Alabama, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Missouri, Nebraska, sorry, North Carolina, and
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. But ultimately, this is something that when we can get together, what it does also create, in addition to women being able to participate and being able to fight the stigma, is that it creates and it fosters gender equality. The
Yes.
reality is that men do not miss school because they cannot afford something that allows them to be in school.
Yes.
How freaking crazy is that? So we're
Very
saying, hey,
crazy.
you don't count as much. Your education is not as important. And
Yeah.
again, this perpetuates women being low wage earners because they don't have the education, because they segregate themselves instead of having
Yeah.
equal access.
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of even that, I remember it was on the news that you can women can take some leave for their periods, so they can
Mhm.
have like this paid leave when you're on
Yep.
the period. It came on the headlines. Everybody was like, "Whoa, yay!" It got nipped under the bud real quick,
Yeah.
because what happened to that? No one heard anything about that afterwards, and I feel like it's just not fair, even as a woman. Yeah, and even sometimes I've had instances where I've actually called in my workplace
Mhm.
and said I can't come in today because I'm on my periods, because my period pains are very, yeah, it's
Mhm.
very painful.
Yeah.
Your manager can't even take you serious and feel like you're a liability, because why are you coming off work for your period? If I called that, I
Mhm.
said, oh, I'm sick from something else, that's
Mhm.
okay. But when it's period, it just looks at, oh, just get over it.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. Just come into work. Just take some paracetamol.
Yep.
Some of us need more than paracetamol to be on this period pain, especially
Yeah.
the first and second day.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this is something that people need to actually start talking about it, and also doing something about it.
Mhm.
Because why should I not be entitled to that leave paid for having my period, which is actually affecting the way I actually carry on my day and my
Mhm.
day-to-day activities? So I feel like this is actually something that also needs to be on the agenda, that needs to be discussed. Okay, we understand that young girls can't afford it. Some people don't have education. So what about the older women, or what about just the middle-aged women who are actually working, who are actually having their periods. They can afford the products, they can afford, they've had the education on it, but they actually can't go to work because of how severe or how painful the period is. What happens to them? What about them? What about that category?
Yeah.
Are we focusing our conversation on them too? So yeah.
Yeah. I think that no matter where you are, right, there's so many different things that we can do to advocate. We can advocate
Yes.
with our elected officials. We can also advocate directly with the schools or create organizations like your church that
Yeah.
created a program to be able to educate young girls and give them the tools. Because, I am a big proponent. Education is power, knowledge is power. The more that we talk about things, the more that we can help somebody. I had someone that I interviewed for this show, and she talked about she is a cancer survivor, but she talked about a very unknown symptom of what led her to be diagnosed with her cancer. And this
Okay.
is not something that everybody suffers with. It's very unique. But I had someone contact me and say, "Hey, I am so glad she talked about that because I was dealing with that and I went to get checked out and I was able to alleviate this turning into something as devastating as a cancer diagnosis." And there's so many different things that we need to really be able to just this is a new era in which all of us deserve to have equal opportunities no matter
Yeah.
what our sex is, no matter where we live or where we come from.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
very true. And you actually be shocked that when this actually gets aired, how many people will actually come up to you and be like, period poverty? What's that?
What is
It's
that? Yeah.
yeah, what is that? Which is amazing because as you said, we're here to advocate and that's what
Hmm.
this episode is going to do for these ladies and even men. So yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So now tell me a little bit more. I want to kind of go back a little bit to your competition. Now, where does the competition take place?
Okay, so I have two competition coming up. The
Okay.
first one is Miss Africa America, which takes place on the 28th of September in
Hmm.
Los Angeles, which I haven't been to America before, so I'm very
Oh my
excited about
goodness. How
it.
fun. Are you going directly to Los Angeles?
Yeah, so I'm going directly to Los Angeles. I'm gonna try to get there 2 days or 3 days before the event, so I can explore the city a bit more. And then the competition happens on the 28th, but we're meeting and greeting on the 26th. So I can't wait to meet the other ladies that are in the competition. I can't wait to be in America. I can't wait to try the food in America. That's top of my list. I need to get through all the food places. I need
Well,
to.
I'm going to connect you with lots of my friends in LA.
Okay.
So that if you need some support, and again, friends of the show, Amy and Nancy Harrington, the Passionistas,
Yes.
they live in LA and they need to connect with you because I think that this is something that they would help and support you.
That'll be amazing. And I've got a second competition coming in on 15th of October, which is taking part in Albania for Miss Globe, which I'm looking forward to it because with that one, we're going to be in Albania for 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So that's going to be another whole experience. I've never been to Albania before, so I can't wait to get there and actually also still spread my awareness because the other competition is going to be over by then. But as I
Yeah.
said, it just doesn't stop. So any other competition, any other event, I'm there
Mhm.
just to spread awareness. So I just can't wait for that too.
Well, I am curious because I know that, there's a different process for getting ready. What are you doing to get ready for the competitions? Is there something that obviously, I've seen your TikTok, I see you now,
Yes,
you're beautiful, you're poised.
thank
What are
you.
you doing specifically to prep? Did you shop? Are you having a gown made? Well, yeah, tell me more about that because I need to know.
Yes. So I'm currently working with three different fashion designers that are based in Ghana. So they're making my
Amazing.
outfits for
Wow.
the event. I can't wait to see them. So my mom is currently in Ghana, so she's gonna
Mhm.
bring over my outfits. So in terms of actually prepping, I've been trying to go to the gym. The key
Mhm.
word is trying because we have to keep fit and look amazing for the show. So I'm trying to go to the gym 4 times a week. Some weeks I find
Mhm.
very challenging. I do
Yeah.
wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, But when I
Mhm.
wake up sometimes, I come up with excuses. Next one I know is 10 p.m. and it's time for bed. So I've actually been trying to keep on that. In terms of my walk and practice, I have a coach that's helping me to do my walk. And I also
Mhm.
have a former Miss Uganda. He's a friend of mine now, and
Mhm.
she's actually also giving me extra lessons to work on my walk. Because it's for Miss Africa, we have to actually learn a dance, so your
Mhm.
traditional dance and stuff like that. So I've been trying to practice my dance
Ooh,
yeah. So there's a lot of things to prep. The list of my
okay.
to-do list is very long, but I manage and I get through it. So
Well
yeah,
well, I love that, you have the support of so many individuals, and I'm so excited to see that
yes,
you're working with these designers in Ghana, and they're producing a beautiful, beautiful, gowns for you to actually
yes,
bring to the competition. I know that
yes,
sometimes when we're wearing the right outfit, it really helps our confidence. Now, um, how do you ever feel, I guess, unsure of yourself, especially when you're in the limelight? I think that a lot of
yes,
women, this could be their nightmare, having to be in front of people, strut their stuff, much less speak on something, or
yes.
dance, or have the attention in their body. How do you do it?
So I have two ways of just doing this. Just also keeping positive. Because obviously by faith I'm a Christian, so just relying on God that God is going to help me to pull through, and just keeping positive and also speaking positivity always helps me also to keep on track of my thing. I have a very big family, so I have 5 siblings, and I also have my mom and my dad in my life as well. So they do actually encourage me and keep pushing me forward. And in terms of even with my family, they do ask me like, is there something we can help you with? So my sister designed my one of my outfits. She actually drew it and everything. She helps me to record my videos for my platform, for my introduction. So it does help, because sometimes when you feel like you can just do it, you have to do it by yourself. It's hard. But having
Mhm.
friends, family, everybody around me contribute what they can to help me. So some of my friends are good with photography. They record me, take pictures of me for my Instagram, for my TikTok, which is amazing, because if I had to do it by myself, then I wouldn't have that
Mhm.
professionalism with my content and stuff. So I just love that I just have a very strong support system around me, and everybody is actually helping me to get through this competition. And of course they want me to win, so they're putting in their all and just
Mhm.
not doing it. They're just putting that 100% in there. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that there's so many different people that are coming alongside, and I think that when we're doing something that is pretty exciting and pretty big, we always need that community around us. I would be remiss, and Esena, I hope that this is okay for me to kind of talk about, because I think
Yeah.
that there might be people also that are listening. It is a common knowledge that many people oppose pageants because they feel that it hurts women's self esteem.
Yes.
And, we're focusing too much on looks, on the outward. Now, I know that for me specifically, because I know people like you and people like Cairo, and other amazing individuals who have competed, who are well poised and are bringing light to so many different platforms that maybe are not getting that awareness. I know that, there is that, but what do you say to the critics that are saying that maybe this is not something that we want to go ahead and perpetuate?
Yeah. So at first, I just thought that beauty pageant is just literally about beauty.
Mhm.
But unless you actually research and actually get involved, since I started, that is one of the last thing on the list for us. The most important thing, because if it was just about beauty, I would have come on your show and just be like, oh yeah, like I'm beautiful. Look at me. But no, it's actually focusing on actually educating. They're actually very educational, because I've actually learned so much, even
Mhm.
just about period poverty, because I knew about period poverty before I started the competition. But the amount of information and the amount of awareness that I've received and I've learned in the space of 3 months has been
Mhm.
amazing. That every day I learn something new. Every day I speak to people and I learn something new. It's just not about beauty, because we get to focus
Mhm.
on our platforms and our missions. And even with the Miss Africa America competition, they've literally put the humanitarian platform, their mission, at forefront more than some of the other things. So they've taken out some of the other beauty aspect of the competition, so we can focus on our missions, so that it has a meaningful impact on the competition. So I feel like even though people think that it's just about beauty, as you say, people just don't know. So that's why this question is important, because when you hear my answer and you actually watch this episode, you think, wow, she's actually more than her looks. She's actually more than just looking beautiful. She's actually on a mission to actually help and impact other women around the world, which is amazing, which is something that I've even learned for myself since I've been in this competition.
Well,
So yeah.
I'm incredibly proud of you, because I think that, we need to have representatives that are committed, because, by the way, you are putting yourself out there. You are making yourself vulnerable for people to kind of decide whether or not you are the one who will represent this title. But ultimately, I know that a lot of contestants suffer from anxiety, and they suffer from, that need to perform and be perfect, and that perfectionism. How do you work on yourself so that you are not struggling with anxiety, that you're not having to be so stressed out, and again, feel that you need to be perfect because of the public scrutiny?
Yeah. One thing I could actually say is also practicing. So because even we have to speak, we have to speak
Hmm.
about our missions and have a speech. When you practice, you become better. So
Hmm.
practice makes perfect. So when you practice and you're confident in what you're doing,
Hmm.
that's one thing that happened even with me picking a topic to talk about. I didn't, or a mission to focus on. I didn't pick something that
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure about. I didn't pick something about like mental health or something along those lines. I picked something
Hmm.
that I can experience for myself. Other women around me have experienced it, something that I have knowledge about. So when I'm speaking about it, I'm confident in what I'm talking about because I know it. I live it as a woman. I know about this
Hmm.
topic. So it helps me to build my confidence because it's something that I'm used to. It's something that I can have examples, something that when I'm speaking about it, I'm confident in it. I believe in the mission. So I want
Hmm.
it to happen. So it helps me to keep up with my confidence and helps me also with anxiety and stuff like that. Also, another thing is also, as I said before, I'm a Christian. So praying. Praying
Hmm.
helps to keep up with things like this because it gives me control. I
Hmm.
know that like I don't have to worry. It's gonna be okay. I have faith that it's gonna go well. I believe in my kid. I believe in my mission. I believe in the competition. I believe in myself. So it just really helps. So just having those two, practicing, also picking a mission that I know I'm confident in, and also having my faith has actually really helped me to pull through all of this. So yeah.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. And I have to say that, for the individuals that are listening and are thinking, well, what else is this providing young women? And I have to tell you that it does provide them a platform for personal growth, for skill
Yes.
development. They are
Yes.
practicing public speaking, time management, teamwork. They're
Yes.
also, again, building skills like resilience, self-confidence, and
Yes.
empowering individuals to really go after their goals. And who doesn't want to encourage women to do this, honestly?
Yes.
And I think that that's what we need to focus on. There's always going to
Yes.
be something that we can focus on the negative, but empowering self worth of women. And again, it's not just the beauty part of it, but it's the whole person. So we
Yes.
need to continue to really focus on how there is empowerment when we are giving people, women, a platform to speak.
Yes.
Now, what will the winner of the pageant?
Yes.
What happens? What is the expectation for them? What does it mean to win? Tell me more about that.
So as a winner, you become an ambassador for the brand. You also
Mhm.
become an ambassador for your country. So what it means for me is just knowing that I'm here to represent Ghana. It just makes me feel great. That's why I want this title. I need to win this title because it brings my social issue, which is the period poverty, and also I can actually speak on a bigger platforms about it. Because with things like when you email people and you're like, oh yeah, I miss
Mhm.
I miss
Yeah.
this, they actually take you more serious, if I'm being honest, and then they would want to actually work with you. So
Mhm.
in terms of like just winning the title, you become an ambassador for that social issue that's going on in your country. not just alone your country, just in Africa, because Africa, America, just looking at Africa just in general is just amazing. And just being the advocate or the speaker for these social issues is just amazing. So that's my favorite
Mhm.
part about the actual prize and what
Yeah.
the title entails. Like, yeah,
Yeah, and again, I think that we need to look at always what gift comes with anything. We yet need to be aware, obviously, of the downside, but I want to
yeah,
encourage individuals to look at this from a different perspective. It is again building confidence for the contestants. They're developing that self-esteem and self-confidence and setting an example. They're providing individuals with a platform so that we can bring awareness to things like period poverty, maybe domestic abuse, or so many different things that maybe someone wouldn't know that is an issue in somebody else's life. And if we change the life of at least one person, we are creating this beautiful ripple effect in the world.
yes.
And I'm hoping that this individuals who are listening can know that. Now, how do we support you? What is next? Where do we follow you? Tell everybody where we can continue to follow your journey and support you in the process.
Yes, how to support me is to follow my page on Instagram. That is my main page for advocating for period
Mhm,
poverty. So my Instagram is I am Esena, which is my name, Esena.
mhm,
So when you follow me, you get to keep track of what I'm doing. I have so many events coming up. I have so many um charity fundraising events coming as well. I have also I'm trying to start period education workshops. They can tag along, they can come along to also be involved. Another way to support me is that I'm currently raising money for a charity called Such a Time in Ghana.
mhm.
It's a school, it's a charity that's supporting a school in Ghana, which like, young girls are struggling to actually get the product. So I'm currently trying to raise £1,000. I'm at 600 right now, so I'm
Ooh.
hoping to get that extra 400, yeah, by the end of the competition to give to this
Okay.
country.
So we're going to have all the information in the show notes, and I want to
Yeah,
encourage you. There is no too small of a donation. Every
yes,
donation counts, and every effort that we do to put a little bit to help somebody else is worth doing. So, Esena, I am so proud of you. I'm so happy that
thank
you took
you.
the time to be here. I
Yeah,
wish I was going to LA. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I need to take a trip out there. But
yeah,
please make sure that you go and follow this incredible young woman, that you support
thank
her.
you.
And most importantly, look at the information on period poverty in your state. You know what it is if you're a woman to be caught off guard without anything. And can you imagine being the person who cannot afford them? Most of us have been able to go into the store and purchase something and take care of that. But what about these young women who can't and don't? So let's make an impact in their lives as well. So until next time, my friends, thank you so much, Esana. Make sure that you contact her. Go and do something about this, people. I'm
Yeah,
really, really, really passionate about making sure that we help create a more confident in the lives of women. And until next time, don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams. I'll talk to you
yeah.
soon, Asana. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I really appreciate having me on here today. Like, thank you
My
so much.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah,
You're amazing.
thank you.